Hello, everybody. Thank you for downloading episode 48 of We Got This with Mark and Hal. We're very excited to have Doc Hammer as our special guest, one of the creative minds behind the Venture Brothers. Speaking of which, season 6 premieres January 31st at midnight. Both Mark and I are part of this season. We're really proud of the work that we did, and it's a hilarious show, so check it out. Adult Swim, January 31st at midnight. And now, without any further ado, episode 48 of We Got This with Mark and Hal. Hello, I'm Hal Lublin.
And I'm Mark Gagliardi.
Since the dawn of humanity, one issue has gone unsettled. With the fate of the world in the balance, we're here to settle, once and for all. Best Star Trek movie.
That's right. Don't worry, everyone. We got this.
Podcast should have a theme song. Podcast should not have a theme song. Yes, they should. No, they shouldn't. They sound good. Yeah, but people are just going to skip past it. You know what? You're right. We got this.
Hey everybody, how are ya?
Greetings.
What's up, Hal? How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm in New York City with you.
We're in the same room together, and what a room it is.
Yes.
Just within eyeshot, I'm looking at Boba Fez, which is Boba Fett with a fez on, a pirate flag, and a model of human anatomy, among thousands of other things.
Yes, I'm looking at the dartboard behind your head.
Oh, great.
I'm looking at Han Solo encased in carbonite and the poster for Rosemary's Baby, the lobby card.
Well, that can mean only one thing, Hal.
Odd Fellowship Grade 1 banner.
Odd Fellowship Grade 1 banner. We are in Astrobase.
That's right. Astrobase, home of Venture Brothers, and that voice that you just heard chime in was the voice of Doc Hammer.
Our special guest.
How you
Welcome,
doing, Doc?
I'm great.
Thanks for having us into your home.
I told you can't say home. This is it's recorded at the Astrobase, which is floating somewhere near the moon. So don't say home. Go back and pretend you're on the spaceship.
Listeners, I want you to close your eyes.
Hal, I don't know how you're going to get this to the people.
And I want you to imagine that you're in space, the final frontier.
It's an oxygen-poor environment, and I feel queasy.
We are all dizzy, but before we pass out, we are here to settle once and for all which of the Star Trek films is the greatest Star Trek film. And Doc, you're a big Star Trek fan, are you?
I'm a
not?
massive Star Trek fan,
Tell
Hal.
us a
Thank
little
you.
bit about that.
I'm a massive Star Trek fan.
Why should the people listen to you?
Let me elaborate. Okay. I'm a massive Star Trek fan. No, I mean, Star Trek that was my first language. That was daddy. Because it was being, when you're a kid, they air these things at like 3. You get home from school and you put on Star Trek, and I was not a bright kid. So I believed that they were happening at that moment. And like, I'm not joking with you. Like, I believe that Star Trek was in production when I was a little kid and that it had a better look than everything. And I would watch it and think, God, more shows should have men in makeup.
They look really smooth.
Because they look really, the beige is spot on. And everybody had, like eyeliners and stuff like that. And not just Spock, who you wanted to just be Spock, but McCoy had like a lovely blue above his eyes. It was so handsome. And I thought all of it was a stylistic choice. Okay, I was aware of stylistic aesthetics before I was aware of syndication.
We just assumed that everybody in outer space in the future wants a nice Persian smoky eye.
Yeah.
Like,
and then those pointy sideburns and impossibly sprayed hair. Which I've read because I go in the forums. Why not?
Sure.
That the original Star Trek costume had the raglan sleeve.
Okay.
Not the seam, but the raglan with the zipper here. And that was so they could get those shirts on and off without ruining the hair.
Unbelievable.
Wow. They did have glorious hair on that show.
Yeah.
Did you grow up in an area where it would have been conceivable that you would run into one of the actors from the television show?
Oh yeah, Connecticut. No, let me. Can I tell you this? I lived 3 houses down from a guy that was on Star Trek.
Did it freak you out that he looked so much younger on Star Trek, and then when you saw him in real life, he was a significantly older man?
That didn't blow my mind because there's so much time traveling on Star Trek that it's conceivable that
he's an actual time traveler.
Yeah, that he has spent a lot of time traveling in time. But he was, I can't remember his name. He was one of the guys in maybe 1 or 2 episodes he would drive the Enterprise.
Okay.
Not a navigator, but like we'll leave him in charge.
Yeah, like the substation. He was
Yeah.
like 12th in command of the Enterprise.
Yes. Yeah, like if
We 11 important people are going to go over here and talk about something. Joe.
you know how they make the away team the most important people?
Yes.
It's a classic trope. Like, let's take everybody that's super important and put them on a crazy planet. And then meanwhile, we'll give the Enterprise to like, who knows? He was one of those guys. I might be able to figure out his name. I'm terrible with names. LaSalle.
LaSalle. That was his character name or his actual name was LaSalle?
Character name.
LaSalle. So
LaSalle.
for
Mr.
all of
LaSalle.
you Trekkies out there. Do you use Trekkie, Trekker? You don't care which one, right?
The guy that likes Star Trek is
There you
the
go.
preferred nomenclature.
The guy,
A guy that
who
likes Star Trek.
All you guys and gals who like Star Trek, LaSalle
Yeah.
lived down the street next door.
Yeah. And my
to
dad
young Doc
he
Hammer.
took me to, God, I remember it so well. I had around my neck a camera because I was going through my Peter Parker phase. No film in it. No. So this camera.
Just looking for spider webs to stand under.
This camera with no film may be broken. And I remember my dad bringing me there and he showed me like a picture of him and Leonard Nimoy. You know, mind blown.
Sure.
But mind blown because like Leonard Nimoy should never wear patchwork denim. Like what episode? Where did they, like, who did they have to save that they would put a Vulcan in patchwork denim blazer?
All right.
Poor Spock.
Let's talk about the movies.
Yes.
The Star Trek movies. That's what we're here to discuss today. We are going to determine once and for all which is the best of the Star Trek movies. I am going to play somewhat of a moderator for this because I have not seen most of these movies. I've only seen a couple of them. So I don't feel qualified to jump in and talk about this, but I can lead the discussion.
Can you tell me which ones you have seen?
Yes, I have seen both of the new ones. And the one with the whales.
I feel like you could hear.
That's 4.
Yes.
That's 4, the one with the whales. And it's always called the one with the whales.
I also saw, when I was very young, I saw The Search for Spock. And I only saw the tail end of Wrath of Khan because it was part of it was the beginning of The Search for Spock.
Did you see this on HBO?
I did see it on HBO when I was a kid.
Like a dumb New Year's Eve. I used to be afraid of that logo because all of a sudden you're inside the O and then you're out in the deep, cold darkness of space at the end of it. And I thought if I was in that O, I'd be dead.
Yeah.
Those colors would come
You
sweeping
have a
across the screen,
terribly
and I'd be
dangerous
out-
imagination as
I'd
a
be
child.
blown out of the airlock like a xenomorph, left to die.
It's like worst
in the
case
void.
scenario of like logo entrapment. Like it's never.
And then with the blaring trumpets playing so loudly at that point, the bra-da-da, bra-da-da, bum, 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 it's so deafening inside that O, which is just going to echo everything that you say.
Yeah. Exactly.
But you never thought for a moment that like inside of that is ultimate peace and all the truth and your grams there. It's hell. I would look at it and go, that's where I want to be. I want to get back to that. My whole life is about getting back into the O.
Getting
gotta
back
get
to the
out.
void.
Yeah. Cause that's where I came from.
Yeah.
That's where Nanny and Bompu are.
Bambu.
Bampu. Is Bampu a pet or another grandparent?
Bompu is my friend Charles. We called him Chuck, his grandfather. He was raised by his grandparents.
Okay.
And it was Nanny and Bompu. And even as an 8-year-old, I was like, Bompu. And it stuck in my head. It's my go-to grandparent idiot names.
It is a good grandparent.
Nanny and Bompu.
That's like a trick you play on your grandchild. Like, how long will he call me Bampu before he realizes
It's
this is my word?
Bompu.
I think it's just based on whatever the baby says first, right?
Yeah.
Like in their attempt to say grandma, it's whatever comes out. And Bampu is what came out when
Right.
someone tried to say grandma.
That's
Or
right.
Grandpa was Bompu.
Or grandpa.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
why my grandpa was called. That was the first thing I ever said.
Yeah.
All right, let's attack these
All right.
films.
So, if I may,
how do you want to go?
I've been
Tell us.
digging in, and I will offer you guys 2 options. I've been digging in online to a lot of this because I may not have pet the horse, but I can still play the ponies. I'm looking at the numbers for all of these movies and the ranks.
Did you make that up?
Yeah, I totally made that up on the train on the way over here.
Did you write
And
it down?
I'm really excited about it.
Or did you use a mnemonic device to
No,
remember
I
it?
didn't even need one. It was just in the hopper, and I was really excited about it. Did
Yeah.
it work?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it was so good that I thought, Well, that's garbage. He's been using that all week.
No, I thought of that on the train. So I would like to look at it in one of two ways. We can either start at the beginning and draw a line, a linear path from Star Trek the Motion Picture up through Into Darkness, and we'll see where that roller coaster is at a high peak and where it's at a low peak, or we can go through and try and rank them.
I think it makes sense to, what makes sense to me is to go through them chronologically, especially the original cast movies. That's at least 5 of those films are a complete story arc of what happens to that crew. And then we sort of pick out the ones that would be finalists. What makes sense to you, Doc?
I'm here for the ride. I may not have taken a horse here, but I am not afraid of a horse pill-sized idea.
Ooh.
Now, that's not good, but I didn't have a whole train ride to come up with it.
That's fair.
It's right off the cuff.
But you know what? Like that horse pill, we'll swallow it.
Right.
That's right.
All right. So let's take a look then chronologically at the films. And we will start with the original Star Trek, the motion picture. That is, Star Trek, the motion picture came out in 1979, on the heels of Star Wars.
Was it made in 79 or did it come out in 79?
Came out in 79. It was probably made 77, 78, directed by Robert Wise.
Yes.
Who, do we know what else he made?
He made, that movie, The Horse Chronicles, which is about a series of guys just sitting on a bench coming up with sayings. Not
nice.
popular at all.
Nice.
Not popular.
Now, it's like a My Dinner with Andre kind of thing. It's just chitty chat.
Yeah.
$8 million film, which is amazing in 79 to spend $8 million on a conversation.
Most of that went to pay for George Burns' salary. He was the star. He could make whatever he wanted back then.
He was God.
Yes.
He
was
played God.
How many of those did he make? Oh God,
3.
Oh God, You Devil, and
Oh God, Book 2
was
Yes.
the
Right.
second one.
That's right. I'm not a big fan of Star Trek the Motion Picture. And I know there's a director's cut.
Let me tell you this.
Please.
I don't want to come right out and start ranking them, but you're stepping on
A landmine?
this is a big one for me.
Tell me.
Huge one for me.
Okay.
Yeah. Why do I think it's a great film? Here it is. What is a film supposed to do?
Give you escape, make you feel something.
Boom.
Okay.
Because that one makes you feel exhausted. It makes you feel like
These
maybe
conversations are so long.
maybe somebody laced your life with codeine. Like, is there codeine in this existence? Did somebody codeine me today? There are 3 or 4 films that, 1, I can barely stay awake for, and 2, I don't feel like myself watching it. I want to constantly be spraying myself with a mister to who are you? Is everything okay? I got to touch things. I have to have a metal top in my hand so I know it's not a dream. I got to keep spinning it. I need a touchstone. I keep calling Penny. That's my Lost reference.
Sure.
Yeah, I need her in both time frames.
Okay.
So it's Brazil, The Hunger, Man Who Fell to Earth,
Okay.
Star Trek the Motion Picture.
Okay.
That is, I'm sorry, was that an equation that ended in Star Trek the Motion Picture, or that's your list of movies?
Those are lists of movies that I don't feel like I'm myself watching them. The Hunger is the weirdest, 80est, oiliest. If I told you the plot, you'd be like, that's the greatest film I've ever heard. Then you watch it and you go, where is anything you just said? I have no idea. This is really about vampires. It's not about David Bowie napping. Because that's what it feels like. Brazil, which is just crazy pants.
Sure.
All the way through. And it's shot like, you know what life looks like, right? I don't. And this is what I think life looks like. This is what solid objects look like. This is lighting, right? No, it's nuts. And Star Trek the Motion Picture is like that. There's a sound that goes through it that, you know, the bridge sound?
Yes.
They came up with a new one for that movie that just like attacks your pineal gland and just makes your eyes cross and your body sweat like something close to a solid, like you're actually sweating a film. I love that. I love the experience of that film. No other films you watch it and you're like, oh, this is a movie. That's a plot. This is immersive. at the end of it, I feel like I'm going to bust out of the chamber and I'm like swinging my arms that are now 4 inches longer, hairier. You know what I mean? It's like I've been floating on salt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay. That's fair. If you've never seen this movie before, I'll give you a synopsis of it, which is the original crew is pulled from the corners of the galaxy to reunite on the Enterprise and, look at a disturbance, which turns out to be V'ger, which is some force that is consuming planets and ships.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, sorry. Guys, let me toss it out there. V'ger is none other than Voyager, the probe that is still making its way to the outer reaches of our solar system.
Right.
So the idea that it comes back or has gained sentience in some way.
And wants to merge.
Yeah, it just wants to merge. It needs more data. That's what we sent it out to do.
It's the original 5 have a weird kind of like touchstone theme, which is thing coming back wanting something.
Yes.
Oh, we got to merge with man. We got to merge with whales. We got to keep coming back. It's a scary thing that we've made.
Yeah. Do you like the director's cut of it though? Have you seen the director's cut?
Wait, there's a longer version? Cause
It's 8 hours long.
Yeah.
everybody, that's one thing that I've discovered is this movie is really, not because of its length and also your description just now of it's like coding in movie form.
It's amazing.
It's much more like Star
They made
Trek.
a longer one?
It's much more like Star Trek in 2001 had a child than Star Trek and Star Wars. That's what the reboot films are more like. They're more action driven. This is like,
yeah, there's no car
sit,
chases in this.
think, and you watch things.
How long after Voyager was this? Do we know? When did Voyager go up? 71?
77, I think.
Oh, 77.
Yeah, so this was it was timely. Probably the timeliest outside of Star
whales.
Trek 4, which took place in modern day San Francisco. But would you hold that out as the best film? Do you want to bring it into?
Are we starting
into
this roller
consideration?
coaster ride at the very pinnacle?
It's in my top 3.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, then let's
It's hard. It's hard to call that a best anything.
It is.
but it is a top. I think it has these elements that just don't exist in movies,
Okay.
and that is really important to me.
All right.
You know, it has elements that exist in art films, but they're accidental and they're weird. It's not,
Now, before we go on to Hal, did you have anything else you want to throw out?
No. I think it's. I think that's
I
a
also
well-made
like
argument.
that the cast that they put into it was developed for a TV series spin-off
Oh
kind
yeah,
of thing.
Stephen Collins.
Yeah, so you have
Kambata.
Yeah. He flies in Cutter's Goose and then shows up. That Tales from the Gold Monkey. That's what that reference was. That was my Cutter's Goose.
Fantastic.
Some of them are so horribly
You throw it out
old
there.
that I'll tell you what my reference.
I just assume that Hal will get the ones that I don't
No,
get.
I didn't. I was lost, but I'm loving it.
yeah, Cutter's Goose. That was what he was. Jake Cutter.
Okay.
Yeah, and his dog was Jack. Jack and Jake. I don't know why they did that. Somebody should have
Yeah,
stopped
that
him.
was terrible for the
Awful.
writers of that.
Yeah, for a little kid going, well, that's the same name in my head. That's professional baloney. That's provolone.
Provolone.
So, yeah, the cast was meant to be the next gen, but it just didn't work. So it had all these weird elements about it that I think made it a very special film.
Yes.
So I've, in my going over with the ranks of all of these films and studying the online lists, this one ranks, not in the bottom 3, but in the next tier up from the bottom 3 generally.
Okay.
And has a, do we want the numbers? Are we going strictly on?
I don't, if people want what the world thinks of it, what good are we?
Yeah.
Right.
We're here
Yeah.
to decide for those people.
Yeah.
Look, I was just trying to find something to do. I have one job on this ship, which leads me now to Galaxy Quest.
Yeah.
Which we just talked about.
I will
in
accept
our
that as a Star Trek
versus
movie.
Star Wars. Yeah.
That's what I was actually walking on
And
the way
put it
over
into
here.
the top 5 without a problem.
I mean,
Yeah.
I was sitting here thinking, like, do we include it or not? Because
So then
it's
I've seen
so
5
great.
of them. Because that movie is
include
fantastic.
it. Let's include it. It's
Yeah.
and it gets a bye to the finals.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
All right.
It's Apocrypha, but
but brilliantly
Canon.
done.
Okay,
yeah,
so-
exactly.
how can that be?
I don't know. They
So
did it.
after it is the book of Judas, if we're looking at the agnostic Bible. So we're going now to Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. The second film that came out 3 years later in 1982.
Right, almost an apology for the first one.
Yes. And a great film. I mean, usually most people, if you ask them what they think the best one is or their favorite one is, and they've seen all of them, Wrath of Khan is usually in there.
I think it's, when they say Wrath of Khan, it's because they haven't seen all of them. And they just go, this is accepted as the best one. And I gave up after 4. Because I grew up and didn't want to watch old guys pretending they're in space. And I've never seen any of the, next gen movies. So I'm just going to say Wrath of Khan because I'm supposed to. But
it is a pretty great movie. I mean, like the earworms are a little bit odd. It seems like another running theme of these movies is Chekhov gets injured really, really badly.
Yeah. Do you just like to hear him with that accent?
He falls up. Yeah. Walter Koenig.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where they just go bananas with that in 4.
Yes.
With the Wessel. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Oh,
Wessel,
yeah.
But
we'll get
falling,
to that.
Yes.
Let's stay here on.
But, I mean,
2.
Bringing back Khan from Space Seed, and I think he was in another episode of the original series.
With his baffling rubber chest.
And his incredible mullet.
Has he ever copped to the rubber chest?
All he says is that it's real, and I think he said, like, I do a lot of push-ups. I don't know if that's the truth. He took it with him to the grave. We'll never know.
Yeah, he did have some,
we will never
impressive
know.
pecs in that movie.
Yeah.
It was absurd.
And he's great in that. He's chewing scenery, but
that's what Star Trek is about.
Exactly.
It's just
he does it well.
No, just a big plate of Defecant. Just yum, 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 yum. Just eat that up. Because you got Shatner, who's already just started. Like, we're just put it all in a big bowl and add some milk. I'm eating everything. I'm eating your lines. I'm eating the scenery. I'm just eating everything that came out of our backsides. We're just going nom, 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 nom. So you have to match that.
And he does.
He doesn't match it. He stands on it.
He raises the game.
He stands on it. He's floating on it with a maybe an Italian accent. It might be fake. I mean, this could be a guy from Burbank.
Planet. It's whatever that planet's accent is, which happens to sound
He's from
Spanish.
Earth. He was from the Earth of like 2000.
Yeah, in the future.
Earth.
He was from future Earth. That was a long time ago.
Yeah. All right. And then he was dumped on SETI Alpha 4, I think, or SETI Alpha 5.
Sure.
In the original series. So he's been on this planet that was supposed to be this home for him and the people that he was frozen with.
Yeah, he was the Superman.
Yeah.
For a different time. Right. And then he starts making problems on the Enterprise. And this is back in the 1967 series.
Yeah.
He's making a problem on the Enterprise, so they drop him on SETI Alpha number.
Yeah.
Because he was on Botany Bay, wasn't that the name of his?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the Botany Bay.
Botany Bay. Yeah. So they dump him there, like he'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
But something goes by and tears the planet in half, or ruins the sun, and they have to live in a terrible little shack.
Yeah.
And then they come back and he is angry.
Yeah. So he wants revenge.
He wants revenge
on Kirk. And there's
for doing that.
The Genesis weapon, or the Genesis project, which was created by
Kirk's son.
Yes. And his ex-wife.
His son has the most beautiful afro.
Yes.
And a constant knotted sweater around his neck. Do you remember that?
Yes.
It's so perplexing because when you're a kid, it's a little bit of a cape and you're just like, that's the worst superhero costume I've ever seen in my life. That's the most alarmingly bad superhero costume. This is really, I don't get why they did that.
Yeah.
And it wasn't till the sweater, Next Generation, sweaters that, was a little kid they had him there for a while. Wesley's sweaters?
Yes.
Like his kind of Cosby sweaters?
Yes.
Which you get to watch again, and then you go, oh, I get it. That wasn't a cape. That was a crappy sweater. The show can generate crappy sweaters. Because the original ones, it never generated crappy sweaters.
True.
No, they had that shoulder zipper thing.
They had a shoulder
so
zipper.
That you could get your shirt off and not mess up your head.
There's no crappy sweater. They couldn't get their head out of those sweaters. Yeah. It would have to be a real big, like a real boat neck to get your head out of those.
Yeah.
Yeah,
is that why boat necks are shaped like that? Do sailors have abnormally large heads, or they just want to keep the bobby pins that are holding those little white heads?
They don't want to knock the curlers out.
Yeah.
Oh, if anyone is listening that's in the Navy, please don't come kill us.
Or just who has a sailboat. Like a boating enthusiast. It doesn't matter if they're in the Navy.
Do boating enthusiasts wear the boat neck shirt specifically because it's the uniform?
They're required by maritime law.
They are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
if I go on the Enterprise, I'm gonna wear my.
Because you wear wool, right? When you're on a boat.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because cotton, of course, will take in the water and make you cold. Wool absorbs the water, but you stay warm because it's hair, and that's what it did for the animal.
Yeah.
You get pulled into the water, into the drink, which is what they call
As the salts call it.
into the blackened drink. And you're wearing nothing but wool. You got to get that off, and if it's getting caught behind your ears, so you need the boat neck. That's why the boat neck, so you can pull it off when you're in the water. I just made that up.
Did you really?
Yeah, I just read that.
That
That
is
is
so good.
Isn't that
It's gotta
good?
be true.
Isn't that good?
So good.
Yeah. Imagine me with homework I didn't do. Like
You're like your history teacher. Everything she knows is wrong. She's
Yeah.
like, I have to give you an A for this, but I know none of this is fact.
Yeah, no, I know your dog didn't do that. I know you don't even have a dog, and I'm crying because of how tragic your tale is.
Star Trek 2, of course, ends with Spock sacrificing himself. There's a core meltdown that he fixes, and he dies at the end of that movie.
Apparently, the only reason that Leonard Nimoy agreed to do the movie
Was
was
to kill
if
all
they
the
killed
Star
Spock in the end.
I don't know if I believe that.
You don't think that's true?
I believe that Leonard Nimoy is a saint,
Yes.
and that when
absolutely.
he wakes up, he goes, "It's Star Trek." Like that was what he did, and then first thing he would do is
Wait, you don't think he would go, stand by, lights, camera, action?
no, no, he would, and then he would call Bill Shatner.
Yeah.
Bill, are we going motorbiking today? You know what I mean? 'Cause and they would like drive around the Hollywood Hills on their dirt bikes and their like patchwork denim jackets and their gently flared bootcut trousers and dune buggying, laughing about, I was on the, Twilight Zone. Oh, Bill, I did a stint on,
Some Playhouse
Mission
57.
Impossible and
Yeah.
some Playhouse 57. And then they would just run lines together, and call up Doohan.
Jimmy! Let's go get some lunch. I have to be at Temple.
Yeah, that's what I wanted.
So you think he had no problem doing this movie and then having a change of heart later that led to Star Trek 3?
Yeah.
Maybe, but let's not be cynics.
No. Sure.
I mean, let's at least try to accept
You're the
the
guy that began with, no, he didn't.
let's just accept that maybe he loves Star Trek and he wants to do this in perpetuity.
Yeah.
Well, it's pretty obvious that all of them did.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, I think this movie is definitely a finalist. I know it's a popular,
Which one?
A
Number
populist
2?
choice, number 2.
Yeah.
I know we're going to number 3 because
We're into number 3, yeah.
Yeah, they fired his corpse down to the Genesis planet.
Mm-hmm.
The Genesis Project, if you're not savvy, was what helped grow life where life did not exist before. So taking barren planets and making them habitable. And now
Okay.
Star Trek 3.
And now, Leonard Nimoy not only came back for Star Trek 3, but also directed this one.
Yes.
So let's.
He did? He directed 3?
He did.
I know he did
Nimoy
4.
directed Star
He did
Trek
3 and 4.
And then handed it to.
That must have been on the writer. That one I would think, like, I'll do these things, but I'm directing both of them.
That's it.
I am a bit of a photographer. I don't know if you've seen some of my...
Look, I'll turn on this album and you can look at my paintings. So let's
Trek
talk
3.
Star Trek 3. This was the first one that I saw.
Yep.
And my introduction to.
What a weird place to
My
see.
introduction, as a child, I was about 7 years old. My introduction to Star Trek was seeing this on HBO and watching the end of the second movie as the first moments I ever had of Star Trek. So Star Trek to me began with, wow, this guy that looks like Mo seems really important.
Old Mo.
Yeah. Old Mo meets the kid from the Munsters.
By the way, go back and watch the Star Trek The Motion Picture and go, they look reasonably young to me.
Yeah.
It's because I'm old and they got really old. So when you go, because I remember being a kid watching Motion Picture, I'm like, God, these guys got so old. Now I look back and they go, they look young. They look like young kids. I mean,
Yeah.
They're still grown men.
a little healthy in the midsection, but you know, they're well fed. But still, they look young.
Yeah.
But Spock never was young. He was one of those guys that, like, I think somewhere around puberty, he turned 40.
Yes. Well, we got Leonard Nimoy.
Started
was
carrying
never
it.
a guy who was
Yeah.
Never young. Never. You could see him just like his high school picture.
Yeah.
It's just like, why is there a 40-year-old guy?
He's the kid who had a briefcase when he was 13. But legitimately, like, I have my calculator.
But that's how you stay eternal. That's how you stay ageless.
Yeah,
You
40
Is
forever.
you start
hit 40
old and
already.
stay
Yeah,
old.
hit 40 forever, and then 80. You're like 40 till you hit 80.
Just all of a sudden you age like
Yeah.
Last Crusade when he drinks from the wrong grail.
Yeah. Also, he was one of those guys that had you knew his breath was not good. I don't know why.
Right.
When every time Spock talked, you're just like a little back
It's
up.
labored. There's something labored.
Yeah.
Labored behind
I think he might have had like that. Nothing, not by anything he did.
Yeah.
And it was before you could take those pills that are made up of parsley and stuff. Because you know that he had that.
Wait, the pills with gum? They
No,
had gum
like
back then,
like back then, if you had bad breath, they thought it was just happening in your mouth. Like you're having mint.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Now they're like, no, take this pill that goes into your stomach. It deals with the problem right at the core.
Bacteria.
all right.
Yeah, like
Bacteria.
because this is not your mouth.
Take
It's not
care
like-
of the exhaust at the engine, not at the
Yeah,
tailpipe.
it's not like you didn't brush or anything.
Right.
Yeah, don't paint the car. Open up the hood and find out why it's making that terrible odor.
Yeah.
And if you don't, then get a horse.
Yeah.
Let's go back to horse metaphors.
This is suppositional. He might have the sweetest breath ever. Like, I don't know. I've never had to speak to him. It might be just like, oh, are you kidding? It's like candy. You just want to lick the air that he speaks in. But as a kid, I go, oh, that must be horrible. That must be a horrible breath. I don't know why. It just made it up. But it's off topic.
Yes.
Let's talk about the topic. And it's a good topic for now, that since this is the one with Spock in the title. It was directed by Spock.
Yes.
Can I tell you my problems with it right off the bat?
Please.
Vulcan with a perm? What?
Yep. Robin Curtis.
Oh, that's
has-
right.
Huge problem. Huge problem.
I remember that.
Yeah.
It does not track well.
It's so weird.
No.
It's
they
so
all should
weird.
have bowl cuts or versions of bowl cuts.
At least straight hair.
Yeah. But like the really, like the straight, just like Morticia Adams straight hair, where it looks like you could not add body to that thing
I will accept,
with whatever.
I'll accept dark skinned ones. I'll accept albinos.
Sure.
I'll accept all that kind of stuff. I will not accept a very bad perm. Because these are people of pure logic.
Yes.
Pure logic. And nobody walks into a salon and thinks, oh, that's forever. This is permanent. This is permanent fashion. I'll take that.
Yes.
I'll take that. It's a wash and wear kind of thing, right? I don't have to spend a lot of time with it in the morning, picking it out or working it through with a curling iron, right? I can just, I'll take this giant poodle perm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And cut bangs into it while you're at it. Cause Vulcans love a bang. They love a tight bang that starts at the middle, bangs at the mohair cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you go into
If your head
Vulcan
is
salon,
just bangs.
it's
Yeah.
just all
It's
the
made
same
out of
thing there.
bangs.
Yeah.
Your hair is made out of bangs.
It's all pictures
the
of
back
Mo and
somehow
Dorothy
works as a
Hamill.
bang. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what you want.
Bang. Yeah. We'll take,
Yeah,
All right.
I think we can knock that film out. There are three things that stand out in it for me. One is the death of Kirk's son, which plays in later. Two is the
also perm.
yes, also perm.
So many perms. Kirk had a perm then.
Kirk had a- yeah,
I think he
Kirk
might have
was
snapped
a
it
perm.
onto his head, but it was a perm.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
the best snap-on perm you could get. Then there's
What year was this?
This
Mark,
was
85,
1985, I believe.
or
yeah.
84, 84 or 85.
It doesn't
Might be
say.
84.
Whatever it is, I can now safely say the year of the perm.
It was the year.
It was the year of the perm.
was
The
all the
permanent
rage.
wave was happening.
Yeah.
The destruction of the Enterprise, but also Christopher Lloyd as the Klingon, as the bad guy Klingon. Yeah. He does the Chu. That's the only thing I remember from that movie dialogue.
Which means Marty.
Yeah. It means hokey dokey. Which I did.
It was Christopher Lloyd.
Yeah, it was Christopher Lloyd.
Here, another thing I remember from it,
Please.
the hazy memories of this movie, that there was a young Spock growing up
Yes, very quick.
on the planet, and they had to send down perm Vulcan S,
Yes.
and she may have given him a handy.
Could have happened.
Could have happened. I
can't prove
think
it didn't.
I think that was implicit.
Yeah. It's
I
a
think if you
Vulcan
go back
ritual.
and watch it, there's a lot of things you just go, yeah, that was a handy.
Yeah, they go to the planet HJ9.
Yeah.
It's right off of Vulcan, and that's a
Because
ritual.
he was going through some early stages of Ponfar. Some early Ponfar stages. Ponfar. I'll be using that voice anytime I say something I shouldn't know.
There you go.
Ponfar. He was, the Vulcan estrus,
Yes.
or the coming of age, the needing to get some. And she comes down and helps him. Suddenly he's fine, like he's all sweaty and stuff, and they come back out and it's okay now. What do you think? What do you think happened?
You went lowball on Planet HJ then.
Yeah. Well,
I'm assuming it. Well, you got to remember, I saw all these as a kid.
Yeah.
That was the pinnacle.
Yeah, and
that was a home run.
Yeah, and that's that's all you could ever ask for.
Yeah, and the journey of a million miles begins with a single step.
It does.
Let's not forget.
One
It does.
foot in front of the other.
Yeah. At that age, I was thinking, God, if a girl would just laugh at my damn jokes, like that would, like that's all I'm looking for. I don't care about anything else. I don't want the hand holding. I don't want the saving a place for you in line for the water fountain privileges. I just want somebody lying to me that what I'm saying is funny. Like just a couple chuckles for the crap. Like I know these are bad. I know they're bad. Just be supportive on the playground.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
where it counts, where our peer groups are standing there. You know, I am in line to do terrible out of sport. I'm about to be up. You know what I mean? Like, up, hammers up. You know, everybody comes in, all the outfield moves in. Yeah. I've actually knocked myself unconscious choking up on a bat.
What?
Yeah, like
How did you
take a bat, put it right in the middle, and swing it. It'll hit you right in the bread basket. Right in the bread basket.
My goodness. You hit yourself in the stomach with a baseball bat you were swinging?
Yeah. So not only did I not make contact with the ball, I knocked myself unconscious and I couldn't breathe. And then is he crying? And I can't breathe enough to go, no, I'm not crying. I've actually hit myself in the diaphragm and it's very hard to get in air. So I just went, no, which is obvious. And then I think I might have started to cry.
Of course.
Right. What I wanted was a girl to just go, leave him alone. He's a genius.
Isn't that all any of us ultimately wants?
Leave him alone. He's not
understand.
He's not meant for this.
Yeah.
He's not meant for this. And
he doesn't need your metric.
Yeah. Something. He's a late developer, this one. He will eventually hit puberty with a running stride. Just wait for it.
At like 28.
Yeah. And it's just going to be all up. There's going to be no outward puberty. It's just all up.
That's right.
Ladies.
And that's why Star Trek 3 is not going to make it to the finals.
It's not making finals because it has too much to do with puberty.
Too much.
There's the idea that like, ooh, I think she helped him through his Ponfar. That's grim.
Yep.
And it has some nice things about it. One, they get a Klingon vessel.
Yes.
And it's cool to see the Enterprise crew driving something that isn't the Enterprise.
Yes.
It's just cool.
That is cool.
Yeah. And they go to Vulcan.
They do. They're there.
When you're a kid, like I judge all Star Treks by how many Vulcans are in each episode.
You're a huge Vulcan fan.
Huge Vulcan fan.
Vulcophile.
That's why I show up for the game. I will, of all the different series, which you may want to do, what's the best Star Trek series?
Absolutely.
I always go Enterprise, and people are like, are you drunk?
Because of T'Pol?
No, not just because of T'Pol, because it's just pound for pound, more Vulcans.
I like
there are a lot of Vulcans.
An easily quantifiable way of determining which is the best.
More
series.
Vulcans, yeah. For me.
What's the
but this
Vulcan
one, they
ratio?
go through everything. I mean, you get to see him go to Vulcan. You get to see Vulcan when you're a kid. That's all you wanted.
Yeah.
Because when you saw Vulcan, it was clearly a set somewhere in Burbank.
Yeah.
And it was just, T'Pau and the Gong and Spock and Kirk fighting.
Right.
They don't go, hey, do you want to see where I grew up? Or no, you didn't get any of that. So this, you get to see the arid wasteland that is Vulcan.
Yes.
And then if I may jump ahead, then they get rid of that planet.
Yes.
Thanks.
Yeah, exactly.
It was the coolest thing in the world is now gone.
Yeah, when we get to those reboots.
Yeah, I know to him it was like, it doesn't matter. Yeah. Vulcan's for the nerds. Gentlemen, I've knocked myself out with a baseball bat playing the game of baseball. Not like fighting as a jet, but actually playing baseball. Like you're up. I hurt myself. So of course I love Vulcan and I want more Vulcan in my life.
Yeah.
So 3 has Vulcan in it.
3 does have Vulcan in it, but so does 4. He starts there. We get to see him take the IQ
Correct.
test. Yeah, correct.
So, how do you feel? This is illogical. Oh, but Spock, it knows you're half human.
Now that we are moving on to number 4,
Yes.
you mentioned, just the backlots in Burbank. Now we're going to see the front side of a California street.
Yes.
When they come to mid-1980s United States of America, San Francisco.
Yes.
Yeah.
Golden Gate Park is where they land the ship.
And
crush a trash
looking for whales.
Where they land? Hit that. Where they land the Klingon ship. They're still in the Klingon ship.
Still in the Klingon ship.
That's what people have to remember.
That's
As
right.
these movies go, they pick up.
Yes.
So they're still in a Klingon ship.
Continuity.
But this movie is an abrupt shift to this is a comedy.
Absolutely.
It's the first time they go, I think we can make fun of ourselves.
Yes, and they do it really well.
Are they admirals at this point? Have they been?
I promise you, there's real chemistry.
Yes.
Real comedy chemistry with Kirk and Spock.
Yes.
Hilarious.
Great.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yes. Spock is wearing a robe the whole time, and he rips part of it, makes a headband so he can cover his pointy ears. Kirk sells glasses that were given to him, I think, by Bones as a birthday gift.
Yeah, but they're antiques.
For money. Yeah, they're antiques.
And think of how much money he got if he sold them in his time.
Exactly.
Yeah. So he got like $100 and did the joke of, is that a lot?
He has no idea.
He has no idea.
Yeah, they get kicked off the bus because they don't have exact change. Spock doesn't understand what cursing is because it has not previously existed in the Star Trek
Right,
universe.
double dumbass on you.
That's right.
Right.
And our friend Kirk Thatcher appears as a punk on a bus, playing a song that he performed.
Yes.
And getting the Vulcan nerf pinch from Spock himself.
What was the song? Like, I hate you.
I hate you.
Yeah.
And I despise you.
Yeah. And then Spock knocks him out. And the bus applauds
Yes.
because he has taken out somebody that was annoying everybody.
Was that a huge problem? I mean, I didn't take the bus a lot in Philly, but I'm pretty certain there were no Mohawk punks with giant boot.
No, but he was, I think he was a stand-in for any subgroup that likes music loud.
Sure.
See what I'm saying?
Yes.
So there could be like, cheerleaders playing that wretched cheer music. What? Remix music?
Yes.
Because when I take the bus, it's just filled with cheerleaders and their remix music, and they're cheering and they're jumping off of things and doing that clap stuff. And I want to go nerve pinch them all.
Yes.
Showtime! Cheerleaders. Cheerleaders every time. Flipping and catching themselves, and then you can see their moms as the train goes by or the bus goes by. Their moms are off to the side like, come on, honey. It's weird. So, I don't think it was just punk rockers with their music.
Yeah.
But that's a contender for my top.
I think it's a contender too.
For my top 5, might be top 3.
I think
Look, we're trying to pick number 1.
I think it's in the mix.
This is a contender.
Yeah.
This is a contender.
contender.
For number 1.
Honest to goodness.
Absolutely for number 1.
All right. I don't mean to sound skeptical.
I know it's the first time you saw it, so you're like,
I've seen. This is one of the ones I've seen.
Right, but this is like the first one you saw.
Yeah, this was the very first. This was no. Search for Spock was my first one.
I thought you were watching it and they played 2 in a row.
No.
And you saw the end of it.
I saw the end of 2, and then I saw but don't.
Okay, then you saw all 3, but you saw 4.
With the scene of Spock, you're my best friend.
That's the end of 2.
Yes,
right.
You are and always will be. You have been and always shall be my friend. Something
right.
Like
By Grabthar's hammer, you shall be avenged.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That scene.
Yeah.
Can I just say my favorite thing in Star Trek 4, which is Bones in a hospital, dealing with there's some guy who can't walk who he gives a pill to, and then later on as they're leaving, you see the guy like dancing. He's like, "Hey, I'm cured."
These are just pills that Bones has.
Yeah, it's awesome. Oh, and then they do all those. They bring Scotty to make clear aluminum.
Yes.
And he's like, a keyboard. How quaint.
Yes.
It was awesome. And he talks into the mouse.
Computer. Hello, computer.
Yeah. As an act of humanity, couldn't they have just left Bones on the planet indefinitely? Like, hey, I know you have to get back with these humpback whales, all the rest of you guys, but can you leave us your weird space scientist who just cured all of our diseases?
No, because then it would change the history. When they get back, everyth's different.
Yeah,
right.
That's true.
It's the butterfly effect, man.
You can't do that.
They had to take George and Gracie, the whales, the humpback whales.
Yeah, who are being led back, George and Gracie.
And can we really?
Gracie.
Gracie was pregnant.
That's right. She was. Spock figured it out by jumping in the tank.
Gracie knows it. That was.
All right. Can we leave the voyage home now?
But I just want to say about.
Yeah.
I've seen that movie maybe 30 times.
Sure.
It's funny.
It is
Like, it's
funny.
not just a thing of like, oh, thank God they're making fun of themselves because we've been doing it our entire lives.
Yeah.
It's legitimately funny.
Still works.
Which one did Kirk become an admiral?
He was an admiral by 2.
He was an admiral by 2?
By
Just
maybe
side
1.
note,
No, by
was it
1 he was an admiral. He was brought in as an admiral.
Okay. I didn't know if at what point he shifted from being
think.
Captain James
Yeah.
T. Kirk.
Yeah, but doesn't he become a
Admiral
captain
me.
again? Like, you can't fly
Yeah,
him.
he gets busted down at the end of 4.
At the end of 4
give
for
him-
having the Klingon ship and doing all that.
And they
for-
give him a new
Going
Enterprise.
against Prime Directive.
Right.
Yes, they were
But
all
that's what he
forceful.
always wanted. He doesn't want to. He doesn't want a desk job. He wants to drive that Enterprise bus.
That's right.
All right. Now we have.
I'm going to admit this is about where it starts getting wiggy. 5, 6.
yeah.
I'm not quite
5
sure
is
what's happening.
5 is terrible.
This is 1989 is Star Trek V, The Final Frontier,
Yes.
and it is arguably in what I have found, not to be the numbers guy again, but this one I will say, a lot of people think this is hands down the worst.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
It's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, they haven't seen some of the Next Generation films.
Yeah. Definitely the worst of the initial.
Oh, yeah. Easily.
Sextet.
Who directed this?
This one was
Shatner.
directed by William Shatner.
Shatner did it.
I just want to pause where we suck that one in.
Yeah, let's all take a breath.
Yeah. Okay. Sometimes fairsies isn't the way to play the game. I'm just saying that, you know? Oh, it's only fair. Hey,
Maybe
not.
Yeah.
Is that the one where it starts and he's on a mountain,
Yes.
but he's got floaty boots?
Yes. No, Spock has them. He's free climbing a mountain.
He's free climbing.
in
Because that's what he
Yosemite.
does.
Sure.
That's what he does.
This whole movie is it just Captain Kirk being awesome because
this-
William Shatner directing Captain
Yeah,
Kirk?
he's
is
got like
awesome.
wraparound Oakleys and he's just parachuting through every scene. He just comes flying in. Hey, you're probably wondering why I'm on this skateboard. So he comes up and delivers his dry line in his little floaty boots.
Yeah.
Is it also the one where the Klingons take credit for Shakespeare?
No,
or is that the
that's
next
6.
one?
That's Christopher
See what I'm
Plummer
saying?
in the Undiscovered Country.
I get them all confused.
That one is better than 5. But neither one is a contender.
What is 5's basic plot?
5's basic plot is Spock's half-brother Sybok is in search of
Search for
God
God.
in the center of the universe.
God, that's weird.
Shakari.
Iman's in that one.
No, Iman is in the 6th one. This one.
So when they search for, wait, how can that be? Because don't they go to that planet and free slaves and that's where,
that's in 6.
I'm going to tell you one more time.
Yes.
These two movies I've turned into one slightly better.
They're not going to win.
Yeah.
Let's just
Slightly better film, but there are some elements that I like about them.
Yeah. There's a mystery aspect to, there's an assassination in 6.
But this is where Spock's brother thinks that this
God is at the center of
this
the universe.
head,
Yes.
this kind of Oz bullshit. Yeah.
Yes.
Ooh, beep. This kind of it's like Zardoz. It has the Zardoz appeal.
Did you just point to a Zardoz somewhere?
The
There's
Zardoz
Zardoz
poster.
right over there
Oh
on
my
the wall.
God.
It's quite beautiful.
You saw all the Sean Connerys from Zardoz at Dragon Con. this
Man,
past
there
year,
were
right?
way too many of those.
I don't like looking at Spider-Man Heine or a Zardoz package. Like it's enough. It's too much.
It
And
looked like,
also,
it was
Spider-Man package too.
terrible. Yeah.
Because a lot of them will not wear a dance belt.
No.
Yeah.
Why bother? Or not wear new special underpants. So I have to see exactly their Y fronts going and like, nope. It's like gym class. Take it, clean that up, clean it up. But you know, Spider-Man Heinies, we were grading those.
All right.
6 is better than 5. It
So
has Kim
6
Cattrall,
is
Iman,
the
and Christopher
Hold
Plummer.
on.
Kim
You're-
Cattrall as a Vulcan.
as a Vulcan. Yes.
Nice.
Of 5 is garbage.
Slow down.
It's garbage.
We're just going to throw out 5's out of the running.
Yeah.
Out of the
Star
running.
Trek 6. I'm going for those of our listeners who may not have the in-depth knowledge that you
Fine.
do
The Undiscovered Country.
of the show. The undiscovered.
Yeah, the people
country.
that don't know anything about these movies are turning to this to find out
We're
which
saving them so much time.
Yeah, we really are.
they have no idea.
You're welcome,
Because
everybody.
I think if you line up and watch all these, you can't do it in a day.
Yeah.
There's that many of these things.
It's impossible.
And one will knock you out for the rest of the week.
One
Yeah.
takes a day to watch.
You can't do anything after that.
All right.
Don't
so,
drive.
Star Trek 6, The Undiscovered Country, is the last of the original Star Trek crew movies.
Quick plot. What's the quick plot on that?
The quick plot is there a moon of Vulcan, or not Vulcan, of Klingon. Praxis is destroyed.
Right.
The Klingons claim it's the Federation, and
Right.
they're at the same time they're trying to come to a truce. So there's this there are some Klingons and some people within the Federation that are trying to stop that truce from happening. Kirk and Spock and Bones are accused of the murder. They're all sent to an ice planet. They come back.
Right, they have to do the trial.
Yeah, they have to do the whole trial, in which like Worf is there, like a descendant of Worf played by Michael Dorn is there.
Right.
It's not great, but it's so much like it gets a shine from being After 5.
And it's
Five is
also
terrible.
the same director as Wrath of Khan.
Nicholas Meyer.
Nicholas Meyer.
Right, they bring him thinking maybe he can fix this.
Yes, and he
And to many
But he
people,
can't.
he kind of did a little bit.
he did a little bit. It was better. Sulu is
Very
the captain of
highly
his own
ranked.
ship.
It was a little bit of turd polishing, though. It really wasn't making a great thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is the original 6 motion pictures created using the original Star Trek television series cast. Now we are moving on to the next generation, and what better way to bring in the next generation than with a bridge film between the two that features both Captain Picard and once again Captain James T. Kirk.
Right, so Kirk dies at the end of
Yes.
6.
Of Generations at the end of this
No,
one.
Star Trek.
And
He
Bridge
dies
No,
in
I thought
Generations.
he died in the other one. Then he came back in Generations. Like, they go get him from, like, crazy. I'm like, I'm living with my
Oh, you
my
think
wife
he's
and
died
right.
because the ribbon at the beginning of Generations takes him away. They're christening a new Enterprise.
That's right. The beginning of the film.
And
That's it.
and he tries to help out.
But he's been historically
Yeah.
dead throughout the film.
they assume that he's dead. It
Right.
turns out he's in not the Nexus or where. Maybe it is the Nexus, whatever it's called. This movie is hot garbage. It's hot
It's
garbage.
pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
I
I'm
love
not
The
sure
Next
it's 100% hot garbage, but it is pretty, because there is some hot garbage in the franchise.
I feel
This one is pretty bad. It's not hot garbage.
I feel like William Shatner was like, all right, I'll do one more, but I want to ride a horse.
I get to have a horse.
Yeah, I just want to ride a horse. He's way into horses.
Yeah,
He's a
I
horse
need,
guy.
I need to be badass. It's
Yeah,
it's important
exactly.
that I'm treated as a guy that can still fist fight,
Yep, very important.
and he fist fights. It's what's his name, right? It's a guy from
oh yeah, it's
the
Malcolm
Kubrick film.
McDowell.
It's Malcolm McDowell.
Yes,
Malcolm McDowell. He gets a fist fight, Malcolm McDowell. Doesn't he? He's like,
Yes.
it's like a bridge fist fight.
yes.
Like, oh, this hips exploding the entire time. His arthritic fist is pounding into loosened facial
Yeah.
flesh. Like, ow, no, stop, ow,
It's
no.
like a sack of rubber bands.
Punching
hitting
that
him.
skull is like
Yeah.
punching a skull made of chalk.
Yeah.
It just has turned into powder
No,
underneath
if you
cartilage.
hit him in the right place, his skull explodes like a light bulb.
It almost looks like two guys fighting over Blanche and the Golden Girls. Like that's what it feels like.
I'll have thee for a scoundrel.
Yeah. So I mean, it serves to move us into next generation movies, which there is one that's good, but it's a mess of a movie, right?
Which one?
This is Generations.
This is
We're out of
Generations.
Right, so now we're to First
also
Contact.
generally regarded as
Yes.
terrible.
First Contact is with the Borg.
Is with the Borg.
I like this film.
I do too.
I like this film.
Yeah, and it's the first one that is just the Next Generation cast.
It's sort of their Wrath of Khan because it's their biggest enemy, or one of them, the Borg.
And they shanked their first film, and they have to come back and do something kind of cool. They have to say lock and load. They might actually say lock and load in this one.
Multiple times.
Might actually, yeah, not just a lock and load style
Yes.
dialogue, but actual click, click, lock and load.
It's sort of the greatest hits of the original movies because they travel back in time. And it's a Wrath of Khan. So it's almost like 2 and 4 had a big.
I would like to think they took a piece of paper, folded it into one of those fortune tellers that we would have when we were kids.
Sure.
And just wrote down all the, like, this worked, this worked, this worked. Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Yeah, yeah,
6.
yeah.
And then you flip up the corner of the
Blue.
page. You're like, okay, this one we have to have Borgs in.
Yeah, time travel. If they had chosen red instead of blue,
Right.
you would have had Khan. Because he shows up in plenty of films. Like
Sure.
later, they pull him back.
Yep.
So yeah, so they found those Borg. Great idea.
Yes. And it has James Cromwell and Alfred Woodard as he's the creator of the warp drive.
Right.
He invents the warp drive, and he's like a miserable alcoholic.
Ephraim Cochrane.
Zephram
Cochrane. Which is actually a guy from an original series. Like he exists. Yeah. You know the one where they're on this weird planet? It's very much like Forbidden Planet.
Okay.
With like the Robbie Robot kind of thing. It's like that, but in a Star Trek episode where they go visit Zefram Cochrane and he's still young and he's been on this planet and he's in love with an energy source that has given him everything he needed. You don't remember this episode?
Don't remember.
So the Zefram character has been there always.
Interesting.
And it seems like they brought it back with the farmer from Babe.
Yes.
Whatever the name
Cromwell.
James Cromwell. Which I believe that in 20 years I will look identical to. It's going to happen.
You're heading.
In 20 years, you're going to look just like James Cromwell.
Like a short James Cromwell. Well, not that I'm short, but he's like maybe 7 feet tall.
Yes.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
He's Shaq size.
He's
Absolutely.
huge.
Yes.
Huge. So farmer from Babe plays the guy that invented warp drive.
Yep.
They come down. What is the plot of
Borg
that?
has gone back in time and assimilated everything. So
What?
the
That's
Enterprise,
crazy, but we need whales.
yeah, they're like, what happened? We've got to go get whales.
Whales.
So
Only
figure out-
whales can talk to the Borg.
I forget how they go back in time. I don't think it's the same slingshot around the sun trick, but they figure out how to get back in time somehow. And they have to stop the Borg, and they have to make sure that Zefram Cochrane invents the warp drive. So you have two plots going on. And Picard, who was once assimilated by the Borg and escaped, this is like...
Locutus.
Yeah, this is...
Which is not a cool name.
No, not at
It
all.
includes the word cute.
It sounds like a cat.
Come here,
Locutus.
Look, you are the cutest widow Borg. Yeah.
But it's great. It's a good personal fight for him.
Yeah. And then there's the Borg woman.
Yes. Yes, the queen.
Yeah.
Of
And
the
they
Borg.
give Data a little bit of skin.
Yes, with
And
hair on it.
with a little, hair goes up, hair goes down. She
Yeah.
blows on it, licks it.
It's very weird.
Yeah, it's gross, and it's just like stretched out on him like a weird piece, like a piece of meat.
Yeah.
But he's like, oh, I need this. I'm addicted to this wretched, terrible piece of skin. Like, I'll kill everybody for this wretched, terrible piece of skin. Super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good movie. I think we
All right.
can bring it into the finals. I think that is the last.
Is that the only?
If,
That's the only.
If you're going from 5 to pick the best one, it should be in there.
yes, I agree.
All right. So that is that one was also directed by Jonathan Frakes,
Yes.
who played Riker.
Frakes.
Stepping up.
So can we?
The second in command on these ships do a great job directing films.
Yeah. Do not let the one Picard directs is going to be awful.
Exactly.
So for the next two films, which are Star Trek Insurrection and Star Trek Nemesis, before we started recording, we were trying to figure out which of these movies was which, and the only thing that could be agreed on was that they are both terrible. Is
Yeah,
that correct?
Well, they
Hot garbage.
suffer the same problem that 5, 6
Is it
suffers.
they're just episodes?
I can't tell which is which,
Yeah,
what
me
happens
neither.
in which one. One of them is surprisingly episodic, where it feels like
That's
there's
Insurrection.
no
That is
difference.
Insurrection.
That's
the F. Murray Abraham.
yes, feels exactly like a.
Yeah.
If you've watched all 7 seasons and you need more and you want it to be an hour and a half,
Yeah.
watch that movie.
That
should be the only reason you watch it.
There's a part of that where Data is in water and he says, in the case of emergency, I may be used as a flotation device. And I've only walked out of one movie in my life. That was almost the second one. That was almost the point.
What
where
is
I
the
walked
one
out.
movie you walked out
I
of?
walked out
Hudson
of-
Hawk.
Yeah.
How dare you? Hudson Hawk is
never.
amazing. To time a heist by Would You Like to Swing on a Star? The idea of two burglars who don't have, I guess, iPhones that they can sync to the same time,
Right.
knowing exactly Frank Sinatra's version of Swing on a Star and where they're supposed to be in a heist at any point in that song is brilliant.
I grant your premise. The movie I walked out of was Oscar.
It was Ford Fairlane, excuse me.
It was
not-
how dare you? How dare you?
In that case.
One Sambuca milkshake,
Oscar?
please. It was Oscar. It was John Landis's film. It was a comedy about Sylvester Stallone. It's a 1920s gangster who's trying to go straight. And it is a screwball comedy, and it is not a good movie.
No, but look, to be fair,
you just picture, like,
Sylvester Stallone is from Philadelphia, and there's not much.
Did you hem and haw? Did you like pick up your hat and you're like, I'm leaving. I want everybody to know how displeased I am with this. I'm picking up my hat,
do it as loudly as possible?
Yeah, I said, well then.
putting on your coat. Well, I've had enough.
Come here, bassinet full of cans. I'm leaving, and I'm making noise on my way out.
Let me get my chains. Let's put those a clink, 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 clink.
I
Excuse
walked
me.
out like James Jacob Marley.
Excuse me, with the chains that you forged during the terrible movie.
Exactly.
These
I
are-
wear the chains I forged during the trailers.
Yeah.
Oh, to you who will stay for the film, you must have a ponderous chain by the end.
This film is more of gruel than ghoul. It's a rare bit of beef or bad gravy, this film.
A lot of mustard, crumb and cheese.
So, you walked out of this film.
I walked out of that film and at the
Because
age of 14,
data
had
was a
no
flotation
ride.
device.
No, not out of that film. I almost did. I wanted to. But at that point I was like, all right, it's Star Trek. I'll watch it through.
Let me tell you, I plunked down my whatever money. I wouldn't walk out of any film. It was like, did they just say they love Nazis? Oh, I paid $8 for this. I will let them do that. I don't care. Yes, they shot a dog. I'm just going to keep watching it. I want to have an informed decision at the end. Plus, maybe at the end.
How late into a movie can you go to the front and demand your money back, though? Could you, in theory, see half of Oscar? Did you get your money back, like dragging your chains
I was
and
14.
boxes?
I walked home.
You didn't know you could go get your money back.
I didn't even think it was I was just
You
like,
didn't know
I have
but
to
What
get
do
out
they
of
do
this
to a
building.
14-year-old kid who walks up to the ticket and is like, excuse me, this motion picture was terrible.
This was a
I would like
letdown.
my money back, please.
Yeah, 14-year-old indignance.
Yeah.
Implausible, first of all.
All right.
This is completely unbelievable.
So it's not going to be Nemesis. It's not going to be Insurrection. One of them they killed Data in.
That was Nemesis.
and one of them
Which
Data wrote.
came from a Brent Spiner dream.
really?
Didn't we establish that earlier?
Oh, yeah,
that
yeah.
It was from one of Brent Spiner's musings. Here I am on the gladdest day, my yacht, and it occurs to me that it's time Data die. Hold on, let me call Frakes.
Freaky.
All right. So what? Now you guys, I can guess where you're going to go with this.
The reboots.
Yeah.
I love them.
Do you really?
I really do.
I enjoy them too.
Really?
Yeah.
With the reverence that you guys are showing for the original series.
Yeah, but we're
and,
not psychopaths that like somebody steps on our childhood. If they do it with a very attractive boots, I'm fine with it.
Okay. Because I actually liked the reboots.
I'll
do
tell
I.
you, Carl Urban as Bones is so good that I forget that he was ever in any other movie.
And Keith Urban as Spock is even
Keith
better.
Urban is
What
so great.
other movies
That
is-
honky tonk number he plays on the
unbelievable.
bridge.
What other movies is that Australian crooner Carl Urban in?
He's in all the Star Trek films. You just don't know it. He's under
He's
heavy
Bones. He's
makeup.
been Bones this whole
He's
time.
been Bones the whole time. But no, Carl Urban is I swore that he was DeForest Kelly's son. That's how good
It was
his
creepy.
impression is.
He's a little big. DeForest Kelly, you can clearly see as a tiny man with a giant head.
Yeah.
Like him and Prince could stand next to each other.
Kind of a hokey kind of dude.
They're human
And
lava
and the other
bombs.
guy is built like a human being. Where DeForest Kelly was like, they made him for Westerns in 1960. You know what I mean? Like that's where he was built.
To be able to be standing behind the bar of a
Like
Western.
he fit the hat, he fit the vest, and he on a horse, he looked like the proper lollipop kind of a guy.
Yes.
Like you put me in a horse, I got this tiny little head and this weird little body. It would look like
The hat is over your nose.
It looks like a pencil riding a dog. But he looked like a guy, like an action figure on top of a horse.
Yes. But they're good they're definitely different. I think that's the other thing is like they're action films, which Star Trek typically is not.
And I think
more
everybody does a good job being reverent to the character and doing another version of it.
Yeah, they're good. I wouldn't put them up against.
You wouldn't put Benedict
Cumberbatch.
Cumberbatch up against Ricardo Montalban.
I like Benedict Cumberbatch a lot.
He means more to me than Ricardo Montalban ever did.
Certainly, but
I mean, he's Sherlock. Ricardo Montalban was this weird guy that talked about Corinthian leather. Like, I didn't grow up in a world where Ricardo Montalban was a movie star.
That's true.
It just didn't happen. I'm like, who is this guy? He's got this exotic. Was he in Gigi? Like, who is he? But Cumberbatch is Sherlock. So that's a heavy hitter.
Great.
He does not knock
He's a great
himself
actor.
out when he plays baseball. Yeah, he's just good.
So are we going to take either of those films into the finals?
Here's the problem with that. I think these are great films. I think they did a good job. Yeah. I would recommend them to anybody that doesn't like Star Trek to just watch them as good films.
Yep.
But can we even include them in this?
I feel like no.
Okay.
Do you agree?
Well, here's why if we say we can't do those, why do we do the next gen? Because the next gen are real new characters.
I think we have to.
They're
include
real
them.
new. They're real new
Star Trek.
characters, but this one is a reboot of the original cast.
Right, but we titled the episode "Best Star Trek Movie," so they have to be in contention.
Okay, you're
Should
right.
We think
no,
they will win?
Marcus, 100%
That's fair.
right.
That's fair.
100% right. You're right. That's a good.
So then, can we say while we included Galaxy Quest because we love it and it is a perfect Star Trek
And if they
film,
could get the license, they would have said Star Trek.
Yeah.
Constantly.
I think
Right.
we can probably eliminate that one since it's not an actual
Sure.
Star Trek
Right.
film.
Not technically a
I
Star
know
Trek
we're going to
film.
get heat for that.
but it is
It's so great.
a wonderful
it's-
movie.
Close down your Twitter account if you're going to complain about
It's
that.
so great. Yeah.
I did just watch that one again a few days ago.
It's
so
great.
good.
Yeah, I've been watching it. I've been watching it a lot lately, just since Rickman died. Just like I watch a little bit of it.
Got to get more Rickman in my life. I
Can't have it.
I cannot sit through Harry Potter. I'm a grown up. I can't.
Oh, you are incorrect.
What?
That you can't sit through a Harry Potter?
I was speaking for Hal. I've seen all of them a million times.
Okay.
A million times. Like, many times.
Good. I was worried. You have your mother's eyes.
I don't
Which
wa-
movie is going to be our winner? Not to press on it,
Okay.
but we're coming up on an hour and,
Yes.
Of quality entertainment.
quality entertainment.
This is fun.
This is,
We're having a good time.
I am enjoying myself.
But you want an answer.
But we need an answer.
So right now we have it down to 1, 2.
And you can't chime in because, like you said,
No. Like
you
I
saw
said,
them in a fever dream when you were a
Like I
kid,
said,
and you only
I'm
saw 3 of them.
If it was mine, my favorite Star Trek movie is the inside of the HBO.
All right,
while
then-
the trumpets are blaring.
Then Doc Hammer will take his stab at it. Hal, you can have your
Do it.
version,
Stab.
and then between us, we will agree.
I love it.
Here's my stab. It is between 1,
Okay.
2,
Yes.
and 4.
1, 2, and 4. I agree.
Okay?
We're in agreement there.
1, 2,
So
and
the
4.
original 2001: A Space Odyssey fever dream.
Right?
Yes.
The Wrath of Khan with
Wrath of
Karl
Khan.
Montalban's leather
Rubber pecs.
rubber peck.
Which, if you just want to go an IMDb rating, there's your answer, Wrath of Khan.
Yes.
And then
Or-
4.
The Voyage Home.
Right. Now, I'm going to throw out Wrath of Khan. This is me, Doc Hammer.
Wow.
I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why.
Tell me
Because
why.
enough people have Wrath of Khan. I need to show what else is out there. 4, very important because it was the first time they said all the jokes that we wanted them to say. It's actual comic timing. It's charming. It's a cute, nice film. Bring the kids. Nobody's offended. It's a lovely time had by all. And no time do you feel like there's going to be cussing. And 1 is a beautiful fever dream. 15-minute shots of this Enterprise passing over you. It's I've never watched it with my pants on, if you know what I'm saying.
Now, a 15-minute shot of the Enterprise passing over you, is that only because it had been a decade since people had seen it and they'd never seen it on a big screen?
Oh, and not only seen on a big screen, they had 2 shots of the Enterprise in the original series.
Mm-hmm.
And they were just changed the color of the planet.
Yeah.
So they couldn't do that. And now that they could, they had a little bit of money to show this beautiful Enterprise and shoot it again. They went overboard, let's face it. But it is a wacky, warm, creepy drug of a film. And if movies are supposed to take you to a different place, my friend, they close and lock the door.
Okay.
When they're driving you to that new place. 2 doesn't do that. That film could have a car chase. You know, there's a lot of films like it, and it functions
the only
well.
one of these that could have a car chase is 4 because it's the only one with San Francisco streets.
Right. So I'm going. It could have a car chase,
Yeah.
not like a
Could be like Bullet.
right. Would have been awesome. So I'm going to say 1, only because it is the most transformative of these films. It is the most unique thing in that franchise. It is weird.
Okay.
And it's the film that I think is the most powerful crazy.
But do you want unique in a franchise or do you want representative of a franchise?
Let me tell you, and not just to be weird devil's advocate, oh, Doc likes the kooky film. I go back to 1 constantly. Like, I need that in my life.
Okay.
Like, I just want to watch this film. I need this warm, vibrating, weird mother to just hug me one more time.
Okay.
It's immersive.
All right. Now,
Hal, give us your breakdown.
we're like the Supreme Court right here.
Right.
This is our job, and it's right now it's you and me.
I was picturing
Yeah,
this more like debate class.
This is like, let me read off of some cards very
Yeah.
quickly. Let's negotiate here
Okay, go ahead.
because I would throw out 1 right away, and here's why. It's not a terrible movie.
I say if you throw out 1 and I throw out 2, then we are left with 4.
That's what I'm thinking, but here's why. I think it's you have to put in a big effort to get through 1 for all the reasons that you point out. Those are the things that make it a transformative.
You know who's watching
experience.
1? Star Trek fans.
Of course. I'm a Star Trek fan. I've watched it multiple times. I didn't watch it once and go, I'm never
Because if we're to say what's the best Star Trek movie for guys that don't like Star Trek, my friend, I don't want to be a part of that argument.
Well, I'm saying,
And it is one of the late ones. It's one of the last 2.
Oh, I see. I don't measure it that way. When I look at best, I look at all around. What delivers a good experience? What could be?
I don't.
just as
I see it
accessible to
as a lover.
Okay.
As a lover, and the best isn't like who's the most attractive person you've ever lain down carnally with. It isn't. It was like who's the one that did the weird nonsense.
Well,
it was, who's the one that did stuff that like I will never forget that. I didn't even know people could do that, and I might never tell anybody I did that. That's 1.
I will say of all the Star Trek movies, I've seen 4 more than any other one. I saw it multiple times in the theater, multiple times.
I've seen
Are you
4.
giving an excuse because it's going to win by default now?
No.
I've seen 4 in the last month.
And it holds up.
Holds up fine.
It's beautiful.
Holds up fine.
It doesn't require a director's cut or
Do
anything.
you want to go with 4?
I think it
Because you want to go with Wrath of Khan, don't you?
I love Wrath of Khan, but my favorite is 4. I think it is a fantastic movie.
I will let that be our
Yeah.
consensus because I do love 4.
There you go.
So,
And we are clearly Star Trek fans. If 4 is our favorite one, but just if you're a kind of like Star Trek and you want to see like just a straight ahead enjoyable comedy that also includes rubber whales
Yes.
plus perms. This is a film with perms.
Yes, a dog toy flying through space, screeching
Yeah.
and shutting down everything electronic in its path.
Yeah. Dog toy.
It's a dog toy. It looks like a dog toy. You would throw that, a giant space
No,
dog chasing that
it's a
down.
tube with another tube
Yeah.
coming out of it with a little circular thing.
And
How
it's
did
going,
that get in a movie?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's the whale song.
Yeah. But in space, it sounds different than it does underwater. They figure it out, like Spock figures it out.
Spock's
somehow.
a genius.
He's a genius. Here's why. All right. Here, we've made our decision.
And it's a fresh new Spock. He's hilarious and he just came back.
Exactly.
Yeah, he just came back.
yeah, you're playing your loud music on this bus. I have seen death.
Yeah, but like a week ago, I was a little kid on a planet that was with a tempest storming around me.
That's it. We did it.
4.
I think we did it. Here
So
we go.
has the ruling been made?
I'm gonna hand down.
Nobody's gonna agree with us.
Here comes this
This is
handout ruling.
8% of the population will be like, yeah, 4. They nailed it.
People of the world, I want you to listen to me right now. I know you
That is
all,
your listenership,
Yeah.
by the way. It's people of the world.
All the world.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
of the
It's
galaxy.
everyone.
People of the United Federation of Planets, beyond the neutral zone, to Klingon, to Romulus, to the Lost Quadrant from Voyager, wherever you are, hear my voice. I'm opening all hailing frequencies to you. And I'm telling you right now, you can take Star Trek Wrath of Khan, you can put it on the shelf next to all the other Star Trek films that aren't number 4. Here's why number 4 is your best movie. 'Cause it's a real Star Trek. They actually go explore and have to solve a problem. They don't have to fire guns. There's no big spaceship battle of any kind. It's pure exploration of modern day, if it's 1986 San Francisco. It's got great humor, great performance, directed with a sure hand. That's your best Star Trek movie. So stop telling people Wrath of Khan. It's enough. It is enough out of you. It is enough.
I think you're being hard on Wrath of Khan.
You're right. I like Wrath of Khan a lot.
It's a good film. It's a
But
quality
it's not the
film.
best. It's been decided.
It has been decided.
Pound for pound.
Pound for pound.
If all
Number
things
4.
all things considered and whatever
I appreciate
cliche you want to throw in there, whatever
Yes.
platitude you want to put, 4 is firing in more cylinders.
That's right.
and I appreciate your benevolence in going with the flow of it not being number 1.
Yes.
Definitively.
Oh, that's because I think people should understand why 1 is great because
sure.
it's a narcotic.
Sure.
Yes. Doc Hammer, thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for coming to my humble
Yes.
home to do this.
It really is one of the more amazing rooms I've ever been in.
When this comes out,
Yeah.
we will be less than 5 days away from the premiere of season 6 of the Venture Brothers. Are you excited to have
When
it
is this
be
coming out?
there?
Is this coming out this week?
This is coming out. It will be January 26th into the 27th when this releases.
When does Venture Brothers premiere?
It is the 31st at midnight.
Are you sure?
on Adult Swim. That is what Adult Swim is saying.
I thought it was this Saturday.
It could be. Maybe you will be surprised it'll be this Saturday.
I don't know.
They keep saying
I do
the
believe
31st.
it's the 31st.
Okay, good. Good. Well, I need you guys because I don't know. I don't check.
Excited for season 6 to be out into the world.
Kinda.
Yeah.
Kinda. Well, there's that little bit of before it comes out, you're like, nobody's seen it, so it's precious and it's flawless, and nobody can say that's great or that sucks. And once it's out there, it's like buying that outfit, and you step out that door, and the first, you're like, I look so fag. What? I thought I looked so cool, and this guy just beat on my gender.
Well, I will tell you from what I've recorded for it, and probably what Mark is, I think it's hilarious, and I can't wait to see how it all fits together, because I've only done bits and pieces.
There's no, spoiler alert, there's no finale.
Well, there you go, folks.
Good. Then season 7, 8, 9, and 10.
We'll wrap that
coming
up.
to you over the next 2 decades.
Venture Brothers Nemesis coming soon.
It's worth watching.
Yes.
If not just for how much you guys are in that episode. You guys are so big. Everyone, it's like, oh, it's Hal, it's Mark, that's Hal, that's Mark. Who did that? It's Hal, it's Mark.
It's our honor to join you.
We are so happy to have you over at Venture Industries. Couldn't be happier.
And now we're here at Astrobase, and people, we've solved your problems regarding Star Trek movies, so you're welcome.
Yeah, but there are many more topics to discuss, so please reach out to us on Twitter at We Got This Tweets, or check out our Maximum Fun subreddit, where many questions are in the midst of heated arguments already.
Yes, or go to facebook.com/We Got This Podcast, or email us at wegotThisPodcast@gmail.com. Thank you to producer Ken Plume. Thank you to graphic designer Uri Kelman and Kate McManus, who did some research for our own Mark Gagliardi.
Yeah, thank you for that, Kate. Also, thank you to Mike Furman and Jonathan Dinerstein for our theme song and score, respectively. And finally, as always, thanks to you, our listeners. We have so much fun making these. We get to come to crazy, insane places like Astrobase, and it's all thanks to you listening to the show. So thank you very much. As always, I'm Mark Gagliardi for Hal Lublin.
And I'm Hal Lublin for Mark Gagliardi. And don't worry, everybody. We got this.
I liked your Shatner thing there at the end.
Well, thank you.
We got this.
Hi, I'm Brian Safi.
And I'm Erin Gibson.
And we host the Throwing Shade podcast. On Throwing Shade, we look at an issue important to ladies and an issue important to gay people, and then we basically make fun of it.
Yeah, and just to answer your question, no, we don't have a marriage pact that if we don't get married by the time we're 30, we're going to do that for each other.
That's true,
okay?
Although we have each been divorced 3 times.
Hey, I'm Barbara Gray.
I'm Brandy Posey.
And I'm Tess Barker.
Together, we make up the Max Fun podcast, Lady to Lady.
Each week, we welcome a kick-ass lady guest.
We talk about our lives, our dreams, and the terrible decisions we've made that still haunt us.
Mm-hmm. We've had on great comedians like Aisha Tyler and Margaret Cho, plus screenwriters, doctors, authors, anyone who's willing to be as open as we are.
It's all a lot of fun. That's us, Lady to Lady.
Can you keep a secret?
Neither.
MaximumFun.org.
Comedy and culture.
Artist owned.
Listener supported.